Hi, so this is a favorite, even if you're not Jewish. This is a favorite book during the holiday times in Miss Tina and Miss Carmen's class. So it's called Latkes, Good to Eat. And usually when we are reading this book, we have one of our usually Jewish mom or dad cooking us some latkes on the grill. So in the oil, and it's smelling so delicious right now in our class, if we were in class. So here we go. Latkes, good to eat, a Hanukkah story. Latkes, good to eat. All right. For our latke lovers, Susanna, Juliet, and Sam. Let's see if I can move it back this way. All right. I'll show you the pictures. It's a little hard to read. So, once on the outskirts of a tiny village, a girl named Sadie lived with her little brothers, Herschel, Halil, Chaim, and baby Max. If you could tell, Herschel, Halim, and Chaim all start with an H. So it's a perfect story with these three brothers. And then the baby is baby Max. Their mama lived there too, but she was always helping Aunt Rose with her new baby. The family was so poor that the one coin in Sadie's purse never had another coin to keep it company. So that's kind of sad. They are poor and they're making do, they're having fun. Mama has to go off. But the house that they lived in was also really drafty. The wind whistled in it like a train going through Moscow. And they were always hungry. So not a lot of money. Most of us have food to eat, and this is a very poor family. This year, the first night of Hanukkah was the coldest night yet. And the snow was deep. Sadie said, "Boys, you go out and gather the firewood." It's too cold. It's too cold, said Herschel. You go. And he pushed Halil to the door. It's too dark outside. It's too dark, Halil complained. You go. And he pushed Chaim to the door. But what is so heavy? Chaim whined. You go. And he pushed Herschel again. Sadie sighed. I will get the wood. Watch the baby until I return. So baby Max is over here. And the young girl is going off to look for the wood. Her name is Sadie. Oh, here's the picture, and I'll read the words. Sadie's boots sank into the new snow. She walked from tree to tree, picking up fallen branches. An hour passed. It got colder and darker, and a bitter wind began to blow. At last, Sadie packed up the wood and turned to go home. And suddenly, she heard a twig snap. Sadie twirled around to see a bent old woman standing before her. The woman's face was kind of creased and wrinkled. There were lines all over it. The old woman sneezed. Achoo! Bless you, Tante, Sadie said. She noticed the old woman's shoulders were trembling. Her coat was shabby and thin. Are you cold? Oh dear, I am, said the old woman, shivering. I have no more firewood. She blew on her hands to keep them warm. Sadie didn't hesitate. Please take the wood for your fire, she said. She piled all the wood she could gather into the woman's sack. So Sadie's a giver. And you know, right now are some bad times, and we are called on to be givers and to help out people that are poor or need our help. "Thank you," said the old woman. "You are such a kind child. Now I have a gift for you." She unhooked a frying pan from her belt. "When you are hungry tonight, put the pan on the stove and say these words. Latkes, latkes, good to eat. Cook me up a Hanukkah treat." When you are not hungry anymore, you have to say, "A great miracle happened here." Now that's important. A great miracle happened here. Thank you, Tante," said Sadie. "But never forget the words I have taught you," said the old woman. "Keep them a secret. Only you may use my gift." With that, she hobbled off. What was the line that she needs to remember? A great miracle happened here. That's to stop the frying pan from frying. Sadie ran home to the boys. "Quickly, boys, let's light the menorah," she said. "I have a surprise." As soon as they had said the blessings and lit the candles, Herschel asked, "What's the surprise? What's the surprise? And where is our wood?" asked Halil. "Well, I met an old woman in the forest, and I gave her wood because she was so cold, and she gave me a frying pan." "What is a frying pan?" cried Herschel. "We don't have a fire. How could we cook without a fire?" See, they didn't have a stove. They needed a fire to cook. "We don't have any food. How can we cook without a fire or food?" Hayam complained. Just watch, said Sadie. She put the pan on the cold stove and whispered what the woman said. "Latkes, latkes, good to eat. Cook me up a Hanukkah treat." At that moment, a fire danced under the frying pan. Right away, there were 5 golden latkes sizzling in oil. The 4 little boys crowded around the stove. "How did you do that?" said Herschel. "The old woman told me not to tell," answered Sadie. As soon as she put the latkes on the plates, another 5 latkes sputtered in the pan. "Can I try?" asked Halil. "No, let me," said Hayim, pushing his brothers aside. "No," said Sadie, "only I can use the frying pan." When the plates were heaped high with latkes, Sadie whispered, "A great miracle happened here." And the magic frying pan stopped cooking just like that. They ate and ate and ate until their stomachs were full. The next night, after Sadie and her brothers lit the menorah, Sadie set the frying pan on the stove. In a hushed voice, she repeated, "Latkes, latkes, good to eat. Cook me up a Hanukkah treat." Immediately, a fire glowed under the pan, where 5 delicious latkes were sizzling. When the plates were heaped high, Sadie said softly, "A great miracle happened here." The frying pan stopped just like that. Well, each night of Hanukkah, the children sat down. Here, let me get you the picture. Each night of Hanukkah, the children sat down to a tasty dinner of potato latkes. And then the afternoon of the 8th night, Hanukkah is celebrated for 8 nights, so this is the last night. Sadie put on her shawl. "I'm going to find that old woman and invite her to eat latkes with us tonight," she said. "I will cook them when I get back, so take care of the baby and be good, boys. Don't touch that frying pan, Sadie said as she walked away. And all together the brothers nodded their head and solemnly said, "We promise." What do you think? Do you think those boys are going to listen to her? Let me show you. I don't know. Only a minute, 1 minute after she left. Let me see if you can see the picture. Only 1 minute after she left, Sadie had closed the door. After Sadie had closed the door, Herschel boasted, "I heard the secret words. I heard the secret words." "You did not," said Hillel, "and we aren't supposed to touch the frying pan." "I did too," said Herschel. "We could eat just a few latkes," said Chaim. "Sadie won't know." "Max," the baby said, "Latkes, latkes!" The boys looked at Herschel. Herschel looked at the pan. "It's easy to use the frying pan," he said. "Just watch." And he put the frying pan on the stove and he said, "Latkes, latkes, cook me up a Hanukkah treat." Latkes, latkes, good to eat, cook me up a Hanukkah treat. Those were the right words. So the stove lit itself with a bright flame, and at once the frying pan was filled with 5 latkes sputtering in the oil. When the latkes were hot and golden, Herschel said, "Great." Herschel said, "Great here, a miracle happened." Is that right? I don't think so. The latkes kept going. The frying pan began to cook 5 more latkes and tender centers and crispy, lacy edges. "We have enough, brother," said Hillel, but the frying pan kept on cooking. The little boys piled their plates high with latkes. "Here, right here, great miracles have happened," said Herschel. The frying pan cooked up 5 more latkes, brown flecked latkes. The 4 brothers ate as fast, but the frying pan kept cooking faster. Soon they had filled every dish, all the mixing bowls, and even the wash tub with steaming hot latkes. Chaim said, "Stop, frying pan, stop!" But the frying pan cooked up 5 more latkes, savory and salty. "Happy green miracles here," Max yelled. But that wasn't right. The pan kept cooking. The boys hid latkes in the cupboards and under the bed. They fed the cat. They can't remember those words, can you? Soon latkes were spilling out the door. They lived down in the valley there, and if you look really close, you can see latkes spilling out the door. Soon latkes were spilling out the door, and the smell of potato latkes filled the entire village. You could smell the onions and oil floating through the air. The shoemaker stopped cobbling to sniff. The fisherman holding a fish carp paused to breathe in the fragrance. The village gossiped the gossipers stopped talking long enough to inhale the smell or the aroma of Hanukkah cooking. Meanwhile, Sadie had walked deep into the blue-shadowed forest. "Tante, Tante," she called over and over, but there was no answer. Where could the old woman be? Soon the sun would go down, and Sadie needed to be home by dark to light the menorah. Now she wasn't sure she even knew the way home. If you can see right up there, you could see she finds Tante. Bony branches scratched the sky, and Sadie shivered. "Tante!" she called again. The wind whistled through the dark trees. It carried a tantalizing aroma. There was a rustling of dry leaves, and the old woman appeared. Before Sadie could say a word, the old woman held up her hand for a silence and sniffed the air. She went, "Potatoes, onions, oil, "Oh no," she cried. Following her nose, she began to run, 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 all with the woman close behind her, all the way home. When Sadie reached, oh my gosh, look at how many latkes. When Sadie reached the edge of the village, she could not believe her eyes. Her house almost disappeared under a mountain of latkes. She scrambled up a pile of warm latkes and looked in the window. Her brothers were standing at the stove eating as fast as they could. More latkes sizzled in the frying pan. Sadie shouted, "A great miracle happened here!" And the frying pan stopped cooking just like that. She had the right words, right? The boys didn't. Herschel, Halim, Hayim, and the baby Max promised, "We will never touch the frying pan again." Sadie put them all to bed with tummy aches. Oh my gosh. Tons of latkes. But what will we do with all these latkes? She wondered. "I could carry them away," said the village porter. "I could sweep them up," says the broom seller. "We could eat them," somebody else said. "It was Mama. Mama's home from helping Aunt Rose. We'll have a big Hanukkah feast," said Sadie. "Everyone in the town or the village is invited." What a party the village had that night. There was singing and dancing and dreidel playing, and of course, there were latkes. Golden, tongue-burning hot, tender yet crispy, lacy, luscious, brown-flecked, savory, salty, scrumptious latkes to eat. And no one in the tiny village was ever hungry on Hanukkah again. So that's the story of Latkes, Latkes, Good to Eat. And it's a story about giving and sharing and enjoying togetherness. So I hope you enjoy it. There's a recipe that you can make these yummy, scrumptious latkes with your family. So I hope you do and have fun together. Bye-bye.